This is things you might not have heard for September the 16th, 2024. I am Jake Living Payne, and boy, do I have news for you today. We have 10 stories from the past weekend that you deemed as conversational, including the big one that's overtaken everything as I record this early 5:30 in the morning when we're recording. You'll see it live around 6:20 or so. As President Donald Trump seeing his second assassination attempt in nearly about 2 months or so. It is an amazing feat. And as expected, it's overtaken everything since it happened late yesterday afternoon. But we still had a chance to fill a full round of news stories to get you a chance to vote in them. And the most conversational news stories of the weekend will be presented for you, 10 of them at least, here in this broadcast. We feature today Donald Trump, of course, Caitlin Clark, Britney Spears, and some more. So stick around for all those great stories. I want to remind you that our website is thisisaconversationproject.com for more details on how we do things, why we do things, and the real value you get from having us as a friend, as a partner, as somebody in your ear with your supplemental news source. Also, our email address, thisisaconversationproject.com. I'm sorry, our email address is theconversationinbox@gmail.com, so you can chat with us anytime you want to via email in deeper conversations. Monday, the 16th of September, 2024. The order of these stories aren't so much important. They're not in any order that means anything. This is just how the stories sort of came about in a narrative sense. We try to put the kicker type story at the end, so we did our best with that one. But we're going to kick things off with the top story that's not so much a top ranking story, because we had stories all weekend long that had more time to pick up steam. But the top story that is overtaking right now that will be in the news cycle, be the most important story for the next couple of days, if not all the way up until November, the election. The headline, of course, is for the second assassination attempt of Donald Trump, which headline for the story we have reads, Trump is safe after apparent assassination attempt at his Florida golf club. Former President Donald Trump is safe after an apparent assassination attempt at his golf club in Florida. A man attacked him. A man was armed with an AK-47 style rifle and was spotted near the course while Trump was golfing. Essentially, as Secret Service was, doing their advanced work a hole at a time, they saw a gun muzzle through a fence, shot at the guy, and the whole thing happened there. Secret Service agents went after the man. He fled, but was later arrested. Basically, bystander saw him quickly, was able to identify his car, and a few counties down, they found him and arrested him. His name is Ryan Wesley Ruth. He's a very interesting character on his own. Has a prior criminal history involving his weapons charges, and of course, calls himself an unofficial recruiter for foreign-type wars, i.e. Ukraine, and right now trying to recruit folks to maybe fight if Taiwan has an issue. So he has issues. We'll go deeper into that one as time allots and things go by. But the biggest question right now is, how did this happen? Why is this happening? And what can we do about this? Will Donald Trump get higher security right now as the Secret Service and police department say he's getting what he deserves, essentially what he's owed as a former president and as a presidential candidate? And of course, he likes to golf a lot in public golf courses, his own public golf courses. So they're wide open spaces that are hard to maintain. It is what it is. We'll see how this thing plays out, because we'll see how this plays out next day at least, if not the rest of this week, as this will be the talk of what's going on. Trump still has public things on his schedule, still has some campaign issues going on. And right now we're getting the same words you get from everyone, which is this should not be happening. And this shouldn't. Chances are they're going to up his detail for Secret Service. And of course, this conspiracy theories are abound that maybe this was not something that was really set up, or maybe this is something that was set up. Maybe it's not something that was so organic. Maybe it's something to bring us attention. So we're talking about him and just him. There's always that. We're always talking about Caitlin Clark because she's good at basketball. Caitlin Clark breaks a big record for the WNBA, the rookie scoring record. 761 points is where she stands right now. This happened a few days ago, and the record was set in 2006 by Simone Augustus at 744. Now 761 is owned all by Miss Caitlin Clark for the rookies. Now she's got ways to go. Ajaya, of course, had the scoring record for the season a few days ago, so and she's going to probably bust that open a few more at 1,000 and going forward. But right now, who is essentially the runaway favorite for Rookie of the Year with the loss for the season of Angel Reese. We are going to keep talking about Caitlin Clark for quite some time, and we're sure we're going to, because rookie season, she is good. We're watching women's basketball. We're paying attention to women's basketball. She'll be in the Olympics in the next Olympics, so that's going to happen. So we'll watch her win her first gold medal, maybe 2 or 3 after that. And we're just going to keep an eye on what's going on with the women's game. It is growing. It is big. So let's see how this one plays out going forward. The Boar's Head plant in Virginia that was linked to the listeria outbreak is closing, and 500 people are out of work. This is a temporary closing for right now. It's an indefinite closure. It's not a full out shutdown. But the Jeffrat, Virginia plant, which was linked to the deadly listeria outbreak that resulted in the deaths of 9 people, is shut down for now. The plant has been shut down since July, actually, and 500 workers are not working at all because they're not going back to work anytime soon. The company is doing full safety procedures, deep cleanings, checking every little nook and cranny to make sure that the place is safe. They're not going to cause any more incidents going on. This is a picture of it if you're watching a video of the very sprawling, very big plant there. And so you could guess there's a whole lot of places where things could pop up. The assembly line, the plant where the actual food is, your main suspect. But if you have an outbreak of something, someplace in the area is sick, something has the disease, and somehow you have to clean the whole place up. Clean the whole place up to ensure that the whole place cannot reinfect itself. That's just like in your body. You have to make sure the infection is all the way down, all the way dead, or if you lean up on it, you ease up on it, you find yourself sick again. Here's a situation, interesting situation. We have a lot of stories. We talk a lot about money here in the Conversation Project because money and business are newsworthy and conversational. We talk a lot about sports, conversational. Here's a collaboration of the two and safety that makes a big deal. And a lot of people are left scratching their heads and wondering what's going to happen for this team, for this player, and just the game itself. And we're talking Miami Dolphins, of course. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, who is going to maybe make $124 million if he doesn't play football again. He may walk away with a big chunk of money. This is because this is his third concussion. Now, it's a bit complicated. It's not just, here's your check, go sit down, kid, and just rest up. Dolphins owe Tua $124 million on a contract that's worth a total of $212.4 million. But 124 is guaranteed. He shows up, he gets the money. It's that simple. He just, survives, he gets the money. The problem is if he medically retires, it's guaranteed money. If he just quits, it's not guaranteed. Like I said, you show up, you get the money. You do what you're supposed to do, get the money. If we don't play you, we trade you someplace else, you'll get this money based on time and showing up. If he doesn't show up because he retires before being medically retired, medically cleared to retire based on his history, they don't owe him the money. So will the NFL do the right thing? Will Tua do what's good for him, or will he try to basically work it out and slug it out on the field? He's not necessarily done with football, but because of safety precautions, many lesser players have dropped out because they were lesser players and it wasn't worth the effort. We'll see if Tua wants to fight it out on the field, or whether the NFL or the Dolphins will actually medically clear him to retire based off his 3 concussions and then pay him what he's worth, or if the Dolphins just pay him what he's worth just so he can sit down and be a coach. We'll see what happens on that end. Let's take a quick trip down memory lane to The Parent Trap, the second edition, because there were a couple sequels to the original one with Haley Mills where she did some weird Haley stuff and starred a pair of triplets in that one for Parent Trap 3. But the reboot series that starred Lindsay Lohan as the 2 twins will not happen. And it's not going to happen officially, even though many folks want it, Lisa Lohan and Lisa Ann Walter specifically. But Dennis Quaid is basically calling the kibosh on this one, saying it's not going to happen. He will not do another Parent Trap because of the death of his co-star, Natasha Richardson, the tragic death that she had years back. Without Richardson, who played the other Lohan's mom, it doesn't work out. I mean, why have a Parent Trap where they get back together with the parents when one of the parents is no longer there? And Quaid admits that because his heart breaks every time he thinks about Richardson and her skiing accident back in 2009, it's just not right to put this together. The film was created back in 1998 when Lohan was still a cute little wisp of a person there. And even though nostalgia is everywhere, right now, nostalgia for this one will have to sit back and have a pause because we ain't doing AI-generated scenes for Natasha Richardson, and Dennis Quaid does not want to do this without his co-star for the movie. Quick pause from the stories. 5 down, 5 more to go. But we want to give you a chance to engage with what we have going on. If you like what we're doing, how we're producing it, in whatever form you're seeing it, hearing it, like it. Just simply hit the like button. Hit the like button in your Facebook, on your X, in your threads, on top of your Facebook video, inside of the YouTube, how you're seeing it, wherever it is, on your audio podcast, because we're in this audio and form as well. Like it if you like what you're doing. If you like what we're doing and you want more people to see it, it's great if you share it with other folks, because that means social proof. If you say, hey, this guy's pretty good, check him out, they'll probably check us out. And if someone sent this to you in a share, or you just stumble upon us and you like what we're doing, hit subscribe to get more of us. So go to our website and subscribe to our email newsletter, so you make sure you get this in your inbox every single day. But subscribe to the video, subscribe to the audio, subscribe to us wherever you are and wherever we are best. We'll tell you more calls to action about our website and things like that, so you can find out where we are in more places. But subscribe so you don't miss out on a chance to hear more of us. We appreciate all of that. Now, back to the news stories and back to OnlyFans. Why do I say back to OnlyFans? We showcase OnlyFans a lot. And this one is not a for the clicks one. This one is an actual business deal, but it is also for the clicks. So check this out. OnlyFans recently beat Apple, Google, Netflix, and the other big tech companies in revenue per employee. OnlyFans only has about 42 employees. And since they reported making $1.3 billion in 2023, I'm going to take a sip of coffee for a bit of a pause and effect. More pause for effect. More pause for effect. $1.3 billion in 2023. That is $31 million per employee. Apple generated $2.34 million per employee, which is a lot. Google, about $1.67 million per employee. Also a lot of money, but not 31 million per employee. It also helps that they have very few employees, although many work being done by contractors and things like that. So it's a little bit of a misnomer. But even though that Apple and Google and Facebook, those have sprawling numbers of people that work for them, like with paychecks, it's amazing that OnlyFans makes that much money for the people that work there. Now, granted, the contractors, air quotes, that make the content for OnlyFans are there as employees, and there's lots of them who are making all the money for the big group. But yeah, OnlyFans, big money, really big money for a whole lot of small operation. And it brings up my wife, actually, a sidebar. My wife sent me a video this week with a little GIF thing of a guy talking about, my girlfriend made all this money just selling fans. And she's like, OnlyFans. All she does is sell fans. And she's like, no, OnlyFans. And because, OnlyFans made a bunch of money. He's saying all he does, she sells OnlyFans when she's selling her OnlyFans. Yeah, that's a sidebar. Probably could have left out there. But hey, want to make sure Christina with a K gets her due in these recordings. Let's go on to more business, more money, more family tragedy, if you will, and just more, let's say, piling on Britney, who doesn't really need it. But Britney Spears is still paying child support. Child support is forever. And even though her kids are 18 years old, she still has to pay $40,000 a month for child support to that Kevin Federline guy. And why is this? He lives in Hawaii. Because they moved to Hawaii, Federline is entitled to money until their son is 18. Their younger son is not quite 18 yet, so they still do, even though they're of age. One son is 19 years old. The youngest son, Jaden, will not graduate till November, so Spears must continue to pay until he graduates and is done. The increase to $40,000 per month occurred in the 2018 custody battle. When Federline gained full custody, he got that big amount of check for the kid. So despite having a kid who's already over 19, she's still taken care of. He's still responsible for 2 kids, so he still has to pay. He still has to get child support. I say he because it's usually the he, but here's the she. Britney Spears is still paying child support to Kevin Federline, even though the kids are about to graduate from high school, because, believe it or not, child support is forever. My wife's son still received child support well into his early 20s because her baby's father was so far behind that anytime he got hit with something, they pulled it from him so for a while. So he was in his 20s in college, and my wife was getting child support checks just at random because of things happening. Child support is really dangerous and tangled up and really is forever. You need to, if you're dealing with this on whatever end, you need to basically know the laws of child support. And I know some people who are really big into child support advocacy, making sure that child care, child support, and child rights are the same for both sides. A lot of men are getting shafted in these cases and just having to pay up child support and not getting any actual rights. So this is actually a big deal. Britney Spears has actually a big deal in this one, especially since her kids are extremely estranged and don't seem to want to deal with her. But her ex-husband seems to want the child support money. Welcome to America. A real American story, literally a real American story, happened this past weekend with Jane's Addiction, who are back on tour after a very long hiatus, a very long, I'll say, suffering band. Their biggest part of popularity was in the 90s, but I'm sure that they have been around since the 80s, maybe a bit longer. There was a fight on stage. Farrell, the lead singer for the band, literally punched his guitarist, Dave Navarro, in the face in the middle of the show. Now, this happened on the 13th. This was in Boston, and it was abrupt into the actual concert. What actually happened? Apparently, there were some sound issues that night. Well, apparently, Jane's Addiction has had issues with themselves since the 90s, which is why they rarely toured, and now it's back for nostalgia. And that night in particular, there were some sound issues, and Farrell couldn't hear himself, couldn't hear anything. He was screaming just to be heard over anything because all the music was so loud. And in just sort of a screaming shout at more or less the audience inside of the song Ocean Size, he walked back towards Navarro, who's playing guitar, and just decked him. Which Navarro just looked at like, what the hell, dude? What's going on? And then people came on stage, and it was a scuffle, it was a thing. Perry was pulled off stage, and the concert was abruptly ended because when the lead singer punches your lead guitarist, you kind of end the show. They had a show last night, so 2 days later they were fine, more or less. They were fine at least musically, sound-wise, so to get through things because they got bills to pay. And they can't just be canceling concerts because somebody gets nuts and goes throwing things. Perry is essentially going through some issues, apparently. Farrell's having some issues and just stressed out with the tour and just all the things that are happening and just some internal combustion inside with the group, which is why, as I said earlier, they don't actually tour very often. And when they do, it's a big deal. And when they fight on stage, it's a bigger deal. Somewhere, the Gallagher brothers are sitting there maniacally rubbing their beards and going, because those concerts don't happen until July, and I'm still betting they may not happen. I put my money on them not happening. Then happening, we will see. Let's do some good news. Let's do some awesome news. Let's talk about the Navy. The Navy has commissioned a new submarine, the USS New Jersey, and it's going to service designed for women crew members. Officially commissioned the U.S. New Jersey USSN 796, marking it as the first submarine specified to successfully designed to accommodate both male and female crew members on scene. Obviously, submarines weren't necessarily made for women, but there are women on them. Now they're making submarines that accommodate the genders. Mixed gender crews with different doors settings, different sleeping arrangement setups, different bathroom areas, and adjustments for equipment to make it more accessible to people who are of a smaller stature because women tend to be shorter. What do you know? Changes reflect the Navy's ongoing effort to integrate women into the submarine service, which began after a ban on women was lifted in 2010. The fleet of submarines is also aging, so as you get rid of older submarines, you build newer ones that are made for the now, and the now means making them more accessible for all genders. The commissioning marks a significant step in making submarines more inclusive and operational efficient, and of course, they have the backing with name like New Jersey of Bon Jovi and Bruce Springsteen to kind of go along with it. Unofficially, of course. They're not endorsing the submarine, but I'm sure they wouldn't mind having their name attached to a sub named New Jersey, having that going forward. And finally, like we say, we try to kick the kicker story at the end, and that's what we're doing here. This is something that popped in on Friday, and it lasted all weekend to talk about because this was a hilarity ensuing story. Your headline reads, Arizona man finds piece of Lego stuck up their nose nearly 3 decades after putting it in there as a child. How do you get Lego stuck in your nose after 30 years? Well, Andy Norton, who's 32 years old from Arizona, discovered this Lego piece that had been lodged in his nose for almost 3 decades. When he was 6, he inserted the small little round peg in his nose. And then he inserted a Lego person in his nose. So he'd have this Lego guy hanging out his nose, because that's hilarious when you're 6. It's hilarious when you're 50. I find it hilarious right now. But the whole fact was, he got it stuck. His mom went and plucked out the Lego head, which was probably an issue. But the little tiny knob piece was just lodged in his nose for almost 30 years. And he always had these breathing problems, always had these nasal problems. And one day his doctor was like, blow your nose really hard. And he did. And the Lego piece came out. That's it. He had all these issues for literally almost 30 years because he stuck a Lego in his nose, forgot about it because he got the big piece out, but forgot about the little piece holding the big piece in. And now we have this story to tell. And we're better for it. We may not seem better for it, but guess what? We are better people for this story. Now, let's move on to our teaser story for today. This is a story that we could talk about come today for tomorrow. Now, today's editions of stories. Today, we had 10 stories for you that were presented, and we did not talk about the Friday teaser story, which was Kevin Hart shutting down all his plant-based restaurants in Los Angeles. Apparently, the reviews are in, and after all this time, the food's not all that great, and the business isn't that great. So they just got shut down. What will happen next, we'll find out soon. But we're not talking about it much because you didn't deem that one conversational. You wanted to talk about a guy with a Lego stuff up his nose for 30 years, and that is fine. We'll be talking about this story tomorrow in our 8 stories we present for the day out of Monday. Tito Jackson, member of Jackson 5 and brother of Michael, dies at 70. We have plenty to say about this. I have plenty to say about this internally and the stories there. The story that basically is getting drowned out by the assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life. It's what happens when bigger stories come in there. But this is a story, although Tito was one of the brothers who didn't really look for spotlight, he was sort of the unofficial joke member, because when things up, they brought up Tito's name and not Randy and other folks. We will talk about Tito and his life, and of course how he lived his life, and the joy that his sons are given and they attribute to him right now. It's up to you. It literally is up to you. What you need to do is follow us on our feeds. Our feeds are the links you see that we have on Facebook, on X, and on Threads. Threads.com, threads.net/@ This is the conversation. Facebook.com/This is the conversation project. X.com/TH_conversation. You follow us on those feeds, and you follow us all day long. You look and see what we're posting all day long. News stories every 50 minutes or so for you to engage in, and you just engage in them. You look at them. You read them. You click the emoji face that makes you feel best to click on it. You share it with friends. You comment in the feeds as they go. And the higher an engagement, the better chance you have of talking about it. We'll take a look at the top stories today. We'll look at the top 30 stories or so from the weekend. We get about 30 stories in a day. That's basically 10 stories a day for the weekend. We gave you 10 of those 30 stories. Tomorrow, with 30 stories in today, we'll take the top 15 and pull 8 of those, plug them into your newscast for tomorrow. So is Tito Jackson going to be one of the top stories, or will some other story we put out there? We have a story about a river otter that dragged a child into the water and almost killed them. We could talk about that if you want to. We obviously will talk about any updates we put out there for the Donald Trump assassination, but we need updates to go forward as well. Whatever you want to talk about, the Conversation Project is about conversations, what you want to talk about. You make that happen for us. Although I get to pick who we spotlight as a sponsor for the day. And today, it's about Flowers Fast. Nothing's particularly magical about Flowers Fast today, other than the fact that it is about 2 weeks to my birthday. If you want to send me flowers, that'd be great. If you want to send me cash, that'd be awesome. But if you want to send someone something extremely fast, keep this one in your back pocket. Keep this one as a bookmark inside of your phone, on your computer, because Flowers Fast can get you out of a jam if that jam is you forgot a gift. It's time for flowers. You need them fast. Early morning order could be a late afternoon delivery from Flowers Fast, because they are connected to FTD. They're a top member of FTD, and you click on their link and you order flowers from them in this website, and they will connect with your local florist and get something to that person as quick as possible. It's not just flowers, because they also have lineups of things that are gift-like, little teddy bear type stuff, little food items and things like that, little cute chitsy things as well. So Flowers Fast is just a name, but they're a place to get you flowers or gifts quickly if you've forgotten someone. And same day is quickly. Something early in the morning can get there that afternoon in most cases. Check it out at our website for our link for our affiliate commission, because if you use our link, we get affiliate commission. This is theconversationproject.com/flowersfast. This is theconversationproject.com/flowersfast. You may find yourself in a jam and need to make that gift very quickly. Flowers Fast will take care of you fast. Do that. Use our link and we get a small commission. Costs you nothing extra. We get a small slight little bit of change for opening the door for you and let you walk in and get work done via Flowers Fast. Quick moment to comment about us and the Conversation Project. We live online at this. It's theconversationproject.com. You can find at the Conversation Project links to past episodes of things you might not have heard. Also links to the weekly wrap up and links to other things we have as well. That's show wise, production stuff wise. Links to where we exist, which is interesting the way to say. We're on Facebook, we're on X, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok. Links to where we are there. Links to the places that support us, those being our sponsors, are there as well. They're all affiliate sponsors. So you click a link and then you buy from them. We get a small commission from all our affiliate sponsors and links to possibly become a partner. We'll do more hyping up of partners towards the end of the week. But partners are people who directly input and fund the work we do here. And you do that via the Buy Me a Coffee platform. And there's also links to one-time donations on simpler apps such as Venmo, and on your Cash App, things like that. Their partnerships page, the sponsors page, all the links to our attachments where we are out there is all online at our website. This is theconversationproject.com. We also ask you to go to our feeds, which of course on Facebook and X and Threads, so you can vote on the stories by engagement. We'll talk about hired engaging stories that tells us it's conversational. It works that way. And you can email us anytime you feel, and we'll take all the comments that you want to give us, even those really, really not nice ones, at the conversation inbox at gmail.com. So check it out. Check it out. Check it out. We are there, always there, 24/7 for you to find out more about what's going on and the hows and the whys at the Conversation Project. At the Conversation Project's website, this is theconversationproject.com. And this has been Things You Might Not Have Heard for Monday, September the 16th, 2024. If you are a regular listener and are used to me going into another 10-minute ramble on stuff like birthdays, we still do that, but we do that in a separate video. So follow us on YouTube and you can see Things You Might Ought to Know, which comes down right about 6-ish, right about the same time we do the live post of this one. We do a flat up video for that one so you get to. So right about 6:20-ish or so, you will see Things You Might Ought to Know. Pretty good deal, if you will. So check it out. You still get the birthday, still get the history lesson, still get the affirmations and the celebration for the day. But we're doing that to make sure this thing is less than 30 minutes and it's supposed to be over 40 because I ramble a lot. Remember that life is great even when life doesn't feel so great for you. So you can just keep that in the back of your mind and make sure you know that right now it may not seem so awesome, but the awesome is coming and the life itself is awesome on its own. Love you guys. Mean it so much. We'll see you again tomorrow as you tell us what stories to talk about, and I'll talk about them in the Tuesday edition, Things You Might Not Have Heard.